Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Tea in Tokyo podcast. My name is Somya.
And I'm Ellie.
And what are we talking about this time?
So today we break down the initial costs we had of moving to Japan.
Yeah, that's right. That and more coming up right now. Okay, so last week we had an update episode and we were talking about how we're going to go back to work and start our working lives once again. And
well, at least
then,
Somya is. So.
Yeah, and since then, our work's actually been cancelled again for 1 month. So now we're not starting until June 1st, so we have more of a holiday. However, we are starting online lessons, so today I'm actually going to do my first ever training for online lessons, and that will start up soon. So I don't think work will be cancelled any longer than June 1st because...
Although this is when I said Somya's starting work again, what I meant was Somya's, not company, Somya's studio that he works at has already got the, stuff to do online lessons. Whereas mine, which is going to be bringing them in, doesn't actually have the equipment yet.
Yeah.
So Somya can start his training, and technically I'm meant to be starting on June 1st as well, because mine will be doing online. Not every studio in our company is going to do online, only the big ones, so we're pretty lucky that ours are.
Yeah.
But once they get the equipment, mine wants to. I've also received a call, but I just can't do my training yet.
Yeah. So in the meantime, before, while we're waiting for that to happen, we're basically just still going to be staying at home, doing the whole self-isolation thing for the most part. So we thought today we'll do a little bit of a different podcast, and we'll do one that will help people who are thinking about moving to Japan. So we thought we'd do one about, how to find an apartment in Japan, moving costs, that kind of stuff.
Basically, how much money you'll need if you want to move to Japan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
We always knew we wanted to do this one, but we were sort of we'll hold off until, I don't know, we have nothing else to talk about, so...
Yeah, and that day has definitely come, so
yeah,
here it is.
2 months of self-isolating.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess in terms of moving to Japan, the first thing is... Well, I guess the two things is finding an apartment and finding a job. I think in terms of finding a job, we can do an entire podcast just based on how to find work and what working here is like and stuff.
Yeah, I think that would take... At least if, for someone, we did a lot of research. I did a lot of research before we found jobs. And so maybe we could do a whole podcast so that, anyone listening doesn't have to do all that research.
Yeah, so the first thing is find a job.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you're going to have to find an apartment. So most people find apartments on... If your apartment isn't provided by your work, where some of them do provide apartments for you. Our one didn't, so we had to find our own apartment, and for the most part, you'll do that on Gaijin.
Well, there's lots of websites to get apartments. Sakura House is a popular one. And when actually our job was really cool, they sent us this massive pack for moving to Japan, which did include a million brochures for different English-friendly.
True, yeah, your work might
places.
actually help you find one.
Yeah, but Gaijin wasn't actually on that list. This was from my own research. You've probably heard of Gaijin if you've already thought of moving to Japan. If you haven't, you should check it out. It has jobs, travel advice, a shop, and also
it's the number one place where people look for jobs in Japan.
Yeah.
And you can also look for apartments. So that's where we found ours. They make it really simple in terms of, or you work directly with the Gaijin people who. So they're an
intermediary. You don't have to do it like that though. So when I searched for apartments, you can put into the search bar if you want it to be through Gaijin housing. So they translate everything for you, and then everything you submit they translate back to Japanese.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we chose to go that way so that we didn't have to poorly translate a million contracts.
Yeah. So one of the main things I guess is deciding where in Japan you want to live, or where in Tokyo, specifically if your job is in Tokyo. Originally we were thinking Saitama, and honestly we probably would have lived there if we could have found an apartment there.
But it worked out pretty well that we didn't. So Saitama is basically just, it's right next to Tokyo. It's a 20-minute train ride into central Tokyo from Saitama. But what we ended up doing is, when we got our jobs...
No, it's definitely not a 20-minute. People talk about it takes an hour for them to get to my work from Saitama.
Well, your work's not the centre of the world, Sonia.
Yeah, no.
Like, it takes 20 minutes to get to, like, Shibuya.
I don't think it does.
Okay,
20 minutes is very
if you live
short.
on the edge of Saitama, between Saitama and Tokyo, it'll take you 20
ignore what
minutes.
Ellie's like. It does not take 20 minutes. It takes an hour to get from Saitama to the centre of Tokyo.
One of the people at my work, he works in, like, the middle of Saitama, and it takes him 40 minutes to get to my work.
Okay, then.
So that's it as an idea. Anyways, we were thinking Saitama because it looked like a kind of nice, like, suburby area. But when we got our jobs, before we found out which specific, like, area we'd be in, they gave us, like, a general, like, Somi was likely to be towards Chiba and I was likely to be towards Yokohama.
A general area, a region where you could work.
And then they give you, like, a list of all the potential studios that they might assign you to.
Yeah, so for us, Saitama was pretty far from either of us.
It was basically, like, I mean, we could have done it because if we wanted to do it like a triangle, like Somi at one, me at the other, and then our home the other end. But instead what we did is we worked out which train lines both of our areas go to.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's actually a really good way of figuring things out in Japan is look at the trains.
Yeah,
see
and
where the trains go.
On Gaijin Pot, you can do a search based on train lines.
Yeah, that's how important the trains are here. So for us, it was the Yamanoto line, right?
Well, for both of our studios that we ended up being placed at, the two lines that, like, overlapped was the Yamanote line and the Keihin Tohoku.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we ended up finding an apartment on the Keihin Tohoku line. So we both, because, like, that way our logic was we only have to catch one train to get to work.
Yeah. And most of these the apartment listings tell you how far from a train station they are. I'd definitely recommend trying to get one that is close to a train station.
Yeah, but the thing with that is because everyone wants to be close to a train station, you can, I think, get cheaper places if it's like a 10, 15, 20-minute walk versus a 5-minute walk.
Yeah, true.
So ours is like a 10-minute walk, so it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Because that's considered like a long distance. Because there's so many, like, train stops or, like, bus stops everywhere.
Yeah. One thing that you need, obviously, to move to Japan is a visa. Now, if you're from... a lot of countries actually give you a free visa to Japan. So, because we're from New Zealand, we didn't have to pay for it. So, I imagine if you're from, like, New Zealand, Australia, America, Canada, that kind of place, you probably won't have to pay. But if you're from, like, I know most, like, African countries, they have to pay something to get a visa. And the other thing that we had to do was we had to sign a memorandum for people that are overseas, which basically means that we didn't look at our apartment, and we're like basically saying that we, you know, even though we didn't look at it, we agree that we'll accept the apartment.
Yeah, so, which actually on that note, there's like two different ways you can choose to get accommodation in Japan. We chose to go with it so that when we arrived, our accommodation was already sorted.
Oh, yeah, true, true.
A lot of people, the way they do it is they'll go into like temporary housing so you can get slightly more expensive accommodation that is rented on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So you don't have the long-term contract, so it gives you time to find it, or you could do Airbnbs, you could stay at a backpackers, but we decided we didn't really want the stress of having to look for an apartment because when I looked, like once we got here, I mean, like when I was researching it, some people said it can take a few months to find one once you get here.
Yeah.
So we didn't really want to risk not knowing how long we'd have to pay to stay at like an Airbnb, for example.
Yeah. It's riskier to do what we did and get an apartment straight away. Getting an apartment before you even move, because obviously, you know, you can't look at the apartment. You don't know what it is,
Yeah,
really.
there is the risk that you could get, basically, you know, you could get, like, scammed, in quotations. Like, the pictures might be really old, so the actual apartment doesn't look like what you think you're getting.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's a lot of other things that, you know, they don't even tell you, like, who your neighbours are, that kind of stuff, so...
Yeah, like, it could be cheap for a reason, but we decided to, like, take the risk. We were like, screw it. We did this when we moved to Auckland. We got an apartment without viewing it, and it worked out really well then.
Yeah. Well, it's a risk in terms of you don't know what you're getting, but it's beneficial because you end up saving quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of the main reason why we decided to do that. And actually, we'll probably talk about that now, where in Japan, you get paid monthly.
Yeah.
So if you work in January, for example, your first paycheck will be at the end of February. So when you move here, there's going to be at least a month where
at least 2 months where you don't get paid, basically. So say say you moved here at the beginning of January and you immediately start working, you're still not going to get paid until the end of February. So that's 2 solid months.
That's right.
there.
Yeah. So we knew that we already needed to save so much money just for that period that we really couldn't financially afford to be living somewhere temporary.
Yeah,
and
especially
then on top of that,
because we moved here a month before working so that we could have a chance to like settle in, relax, explore.
Yeah.
So we needed to make sure we had at least 3 months of like finances at the very least. Kind of thing.
So one of the main things about moving into a new place here in Japan is infamous for the fact that it's super expensive to move into an apartment. It's really ridiculous. Japan living is crazy, the amount of money that you have to spend when you're moving into somewhere new.
There's not as like compared to New Zealand, there's not as many laws to protect a tenant from being like basically you're getting extorted because you need accommodation. They know you need it, so
there's so many people here that I think they can kind of get as much money as they want. They don't have to worry about apartments, becoming unfilled.
Well, at least in Tokyo, that's the thing. In rural Japan, it's really cheap because they're more desperate for a tenant.
Yeah.
But in Tokyo, if you don't want it, they don't need you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. In New Zealand, for example, when we move into a new place, you normally have to pay like 1 month's rent on top of like the rent that you would pay.
Yeah,
anyway,
so you pay a bond.
As
so if you damage the apartment, they have money put aside to fix it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you're basically paying like 2 times when you move in to a new place.
Well, normally you'd pay like a month's rent as a bond, and then you might pay like 2 weeks rent in advance. So you're always ahead of what you need to pay. Yeah.
Meanwhile, here, so our rent at the place that we're living at is $107,000 a month. Sorry, 107,000 yen a month. But our initial move-in cost was $525,000.
That's so crazy.
that's ridiculous. That's probably like $5,000-$6,000 that we had to pay.
More than that, right? It's like $7,000.
Yeah, true.
$8,000.
Yeah, it's a lot, and that's also a discounted rate. So because we paid with a credit card, they gave us a discount.
It's basically like your credit card allows you to not have to pay a second bond, basically.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They know that if you can't pay rent, it's a credit card, so they can still take out of it.
That's such an important thing. If you don't have a credit card and you're moving to Japan, get one. You need a credit card for these sort of things. A debit card doesn't work. They really want you to have a credit card. So our one is $525,000 that we had to pay to initially move in. So that does include a month's rent. And
more than a month's rent.
Yeah, well, it was a month and a half because we moved a little bit earlier.
So technically our tenancy started on December 10th, but we didn't actually arrive until December 20th.
So for those 10 days.
That we had already paid for all of December, like those 20 days of December and all of January. Yeah,
that's right, yeah. So our rent, like I said, it was $107,000. It's actually $94,000, I think. And then on top of that, you have to pay like some fees. So you have to pay like a subleasing fee, a maintenance fee, an emergency fee, and a water purifier for us. So it might differ depending on,
it
where you
depends on
live.
the landlord as well. Because when we first... So that's the thing about Gaijin Pot to be wary of. They have basically the costs broken down on their page. Like it will say like this is this fee. But then when you email them to like inquire about it, they're like, oh, actually the landlord's adding this, and this as well.
Yeah, our one increased by not that much, but it did increase.
And it increased enough that we replied being like, excuse me.
Yeah, like the water purifier was extra and we're like, we don't really need one. And they're like, well, you're getting one, so too bad.
They basically said like, I think the landlord had already installed it and...
Yeah.
That was that. Like you don't have any like right to argue it because that's a condition of getting the apartment.
So 107,000 of the 525 can be explained by rent, but the rest of it is this is what we had to pay. So we had to pay a deposit, which was 94,000, which is a rent.
So that's your bond. So that's the money that covers if we damage the apartment.
Yeah,
which
that's right.
I think we've already mentioned. Somya's already put like we've got like a hole in one of our doors from when we were moving furniture in.
And Ellie threw her headphones
I was like spinning a like a charger around on the cord, and I accidentally like made a small slit in one of the doors.
Yeah, basically we know we're not going to get our rent, our deposit back, that 94,000.
Which apparently is actually kind of common regardless because the final inspections are really strict here.
Yeah. So on top of that, you also have to pay key money, which is the same. So it's 1 month's rent. So that's 2 months' rent already just for deposit and key money.
A key money is basically like, in unofficial terms, it's a bribe to a landlord. So the more you pay, the more likely, like the more you offer to pay, the more likely you are to be offered the apartment. But
through Gaijin Pod, we didn't have like, it was a fixed.
No, but I'm pretty sure we could have argued that, like, we could have said, actually, I want to pay more. So they say the set amount, but if you want to pay a higher key money, you can get a lower rent.
Oh, right.
So I don't know how it works as a foreigner arguing that, but I know that as someone who like lived in Japan, they could offer to have doubled that and then had slightly cheaper rent throughout the year.
Yeah. I think you're going to struggle to do that if you're overseas.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to do that.
Yeah.
But you don't get your key money back.
Yeah. So the rest of this, you don't get any of the rest of this back. The deposit is the only thing you get back. So the next thing was a lock exchange, 20,000 yen for that.
So dumb. Why
which
do
is
we
like
have to pay for
them
that?
changing the lock or something. Agency fee, 47,000. So that I think is the fact that we went through Gaijin Pot instead of going directly through the landlord itself.
So we didn't have to do that one, but like I said, we decided that we'd rather pay that extra money and just have the peace of mind and like the ease of not having to translate everything ourselves.
Then there's a housing registration fee, 49,000. I don't know what that is.
I don't even know what that
it's
is.
probably to get your name registered to the house to your local government kind of thing. And then the sanitizing fee of 20,000.
Which is
so that's
just
like
a cleaning
the cleaning
right?
fee, yeah. So not all houses have all these fees. So I've seen ones where, like, for example, you don't have to pay a key money. Generally, though, the rent on those are a little bit higher, and the house is crappier from what I've seen.
So with Gaijin Pot, again, you can do a specific search in their search bar. So you could search by the specific train line you want, and you can also choose to search no key money, no deposit. And often those ones are the ones where it's temporary. So the ones where you'd come, if you didn't have an apartment sorted already, you could get a 1 month rental that had no key money, no deposit, none of those fees.
Those would definitely be good when, like, initially, because that's so much money that you have to spend straight away, so you have so much more spending money.
They're often, though,
initially.
they're in worse areas. Like, the reason the landlord's doing a temporary rental is because no one will want to rent it full time.
Yeah.
Because it's like a tiny 10 metre squared crap hole.
Yeah, definitely think about why then, you don't have to pay those things.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I read in our contract, because it didn't actually say it in Gaijin Pot, it was only later on that we found this is. So that deposit, 94,000 of it was a deposit. That's the money you get back. But 45,000 of that plus tax, so let's say 50,000, you have to spend on the cleaning fee when you move out. So actually, 50,000 of it we're not even going to get.
So they're totally double dipping as well on the cleaning, because we had to pay a cleaning fee to move in, and then when you leave out, you pay a cleaning fee, and then the new people moving in will also pay.
Yeah, exactly.
So like you basically, like, the two groups of people who aren't communicating end up paying for the same thing.
Yeah, so we paid 20,000 to move in for them to clean it, and then the person moving out would have had to pay 45. So out of the 94, we're only going to be getting 44,000 back.
But we went into this saying, like, we don't expect to get any of it back.
Yeah, we don't, yeah.
This was just like a cost of moving to Japan.
Yeah, exactly. And generally, at least through Gaijin Pot, you can cancel your contract at any time. All you have to do is pay 1 month's rent, and you have to give them, like, I think it was 16 days notice or something like that. So that's actually quite good. I like that.
Because we were pretty worried because our contract is a 2-year one, which will probably stay for 2 years, but we were kind of like I've said, like, we always came into this very, like, realistically. Like, we knew that there was always the possibility that we'd arrive and we'd hate it and we'd hate our jobs and we'd want to leave after a year.
Yeah.
So that was kind of an extra bit of reassurance that if that did happen, we could leave.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't going to be breaking contract and, I don't know, breaking the law.
Yeah, exactly. That makes it easy. Yeah, so this initial, like, ridiculous amount that you have to pay when moving in, that's what everyone has to do. It's going to sound like you're being scammed.
Because you basically are.
But just know that everyone's doing it. I remember, I thought the same thing. I thought we were being scammed, so I was like, man, maybe we shouldn't go with this.
Sonia didn't trust me that all these fees were, like, normal, because I'd done a lot more research than him before we moved, so I knew that this was coming.
But then I was watching Jake and Bake live on Twitch one day, and then he was talking about how, like, within his own apartment building, he wanted to move up, like, 2 floors. And his landlord said he could do it, but he had to pay him, like, it was like $7,000 to move. Just to another apartment in the same building. It's the same thing with these fees. So when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, okay, yeah. So everyone's getting scammed.
Yeah,
which means no one's getting scammed.
I remember
really.
exactly when that happened because I was at work and you like sent me this big long message being like, "Oh my god, it all makes sense," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, it's stupid.
The other thing we didn't mention, which is an obvious one, but in case you'd forgotten to include it, is you've got to pay for your flights as well. Some companies do pay for your flights or reimburse you for your flights,
Yeah.
but ours didn't. That we knew that they wouldn't
Yeah.
when we went into it. And the other thing to consider with flights that we kind of got, like, not tripped up on, but that we didn't consider is, like, getting, like, extra bags, because you're moving to another country. Like, you're bringing your entire life with you, so we had to pay quite a bit extra for extra bags to bring with us.
The annoying thing is, I don't know if this happens to in every company, but ours, we didn't find out exactly whether we had this job or not until end of October, I'm pretty sure. And then we had to start in January, so you only have 3 months to buy flights, which means that the tickets can be pretty expensive.
It was so frustrating waiting because they kept on telling us, like, they tell you not to buy flights until you've got it guaranteed, because they don't want people being angry that they've bought flights and they haven't gotten the job.
It's not only that the job's guaranteed, but it's also the visa.
Yeah, because you can't apply for the visa until the company has sponsored you, until the company sent you all the documents to confirm it. So it was pretty stressful. Like, we were pretty sure we would have got the jobs, but, like, you know, you can't know. Like, for example, when we did our interviews, and we'll talk about this in the proper job one, but, like, my first one went really well and my second interview went really poorly. Somia's first interview went poorly and his second one went really well. So we were both like, did we get the job? Yeah,
exactly. You never know. So our flights are way more expensive than I was expecting.
More expensive.
Like, for one-way flights, they were basically like buying return tickets.
It was so frustrating because we'd been looking at flights early on, and then by the time we actually could buy them, because they don't let you buy flights until your visa has been approved as well, which takes a while.
Yeah.
They were like 4 times the price that what they'd originally been.
Like, every day we'd check it and the price would slowly go up and up and up, and it's like, god damn it.
Yeah.
So the next thing, I guess, would be how much money you have to pay every month.
Yeah, so once you're here, you've got to set up your gas, because they use gas for heating here. You've got to set up your electricity, and you've got to set up your water bill. Luckily for us, Gaijin Pot, again, why we were willing to pay this fee, Gaijin Pot sets all of that up for you.
Yeah, go with... I honestly strongly recommend going with Gaijin Pot. Otherwise, you have to set this all up by yourself.
At least if you want it to, like, you know, if you can speak more Japanese than we can, you could probably set it up by yourself.
Yeah.
But for us, we were just like, you know, if you can afford it and you're willing to do it, just pay that extra agency fee.
Yeah, I mean, what I've seen is, for example, when you're setting up internet, which is something that we did ourselves, there's a lot of English-speaking companies that have, like, English-speaking divisions and stuff like that. But for gas, they don't have that.
Yeah, so gas is just through Tokyo Gas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so the main three, just for the house, is water, gas, electricity. Per month, on average, we pay 4,700 yen for water, 4,800 yen for gas, and 6,200 for electricity. Now, water you only get billed every 2 months, so actually that's like 2,300 a month.
And also considering that there's 2 of us, and in the months that this is for, it was winter, and we had our heat pump on, like, all the time.
Yeah.
And I've also, so in Japan, in most houses, you can control the temperature that your water is set to. So ours is set kind of high because I like having hot showers, so ours is set to 45 degrees as well. So
the guy that set it up set it to 42.
And I slowly kept on increasing it. So.
Yeah. It's not too bad, the cost for those things. Although, when you include gas and electricity, it's actually kind of expensive, because usually you'd only have one or the other.
Yeah.
And then when you have both, yeah, it is a little bit expensive.
But again, that's for the winter months. Like, we're heading into summer now, where I expect that we'll see it decrease a bit. Yeah,
although it's already so goddamn hot, we're wondering, okay, when is it okay to turn on the AC?
Yeah.
So, actually, it might end up being more expensive in
we'll see.
In summer, honestly.
We'll update you guys if we find out that it's either the same or more expensive.
Yeah. One thing that is way more expensive in Japan than I was expecting is internet, both phone and, well, actually, like, home internet isn't too bad. The phone internet is expensive, so we only get 3 gigabytes a month, and we pay 2,400 a month for that.
I think we're just used to how in New Zealand we got, like, they had such good, like, prepaid plans.
What are you talking about? New Zealand sucks.
Well, as in, like,
We
you know,
paid $20 for like a gig.
yeah, but in New Zealand, for example, I paid $30 a month, and I got unlimited texts, unlimited calls, and I think I had carryover data, so I pretty much always had like 100 gigs because I never used it all.
Yeah.
Whereas like here we get a certain amount of texts, only 10 minutes of calls, and like,
Yeah, here there's two ways to do it. You either, a lot of people, what they get is a pocket Wi-Fi, which is like, it's almost the same price, but you get 100 gigs a month, so it's way more. But you end up using that so quickly. We didn't really think there was any point to it. Like, we already have internet at home, so on our phone we probably don't need that much. And then on top of that, for work you have to have a phone number. And if you have a pocket Wi-Fi, you're not going to have a phone number.
I think it was to set up a bank, which you also have to do so that your work can pay you.
Yeah.
You had to have a phone number.
Yeah.
So we needed to get one.
Yeah, that's right. So you kind of have to have that. But yeah, that's just so much more expensive than I was expecting, because I have friends who are from like Korea or Taiwan. They always talk about how there's free Wi-Fi everywhere, and you know, internet is super cheap. Like, you can get like 100 gigs for like, you know, $20 or something. And I was kind of expecting that here as well. And then when I saw the prices, I was like, man, we're paying the equivalent of like 25-30 New Zealand dollars for 3 gigs, and you have to pay like $50 if you want 7 gigs. And it's just like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What the hell, Japan? You know, I just don't understand how a place like Japan that's so like advanced in terms of like technology.
It's known as like the technology capital of the world.
Yeah.
Right?
It's definitely by far the most expensive place in Japan, I would say. I mean, in Asia. Like, you're definitely not moving to Japan thinking that it's cheap. You know?
Oh yeah, but no one comes to Japan thinking it's cheap.
Yeah, I mean, you might compare it to like Korea or Taiwan or something like that, though, which are all cheap. It doesn't really make any sense for why Japan's not cheap. You know, I don't understand that, because
people are willing to pay it. I guess people can afford to pay it.
I don't know. I wonder how much richer Japan is compared to like Korea. But you know, like, there's so many people here, so it's not even like a population thing. And like, they're both islands. Well, actually, Korea's not an island, but you know, but it just doesn't make sense why it's so expensive. But anyway, yeah. So it's around 2,300.
And we went for both internet and phones.
Yeah.
We decided to go with GTN Mobile.
Oh yeah, GTN and Mobile is a really good
This
company.
was really stressful. Sonia wanted to do heaps of research. I knew GTN from the beginning, and I was like, just go with it. It's easy. They speak English. Like, it's, everyone knows to go with GTN. But Sonia like decided to spend like 2 weeks researching first.
Which is always a good thing to do.
I know it's
Definitely
a good thing to
that.
do, but I did my research before we moved here, so I already knew this.
Which you can't do. You really have to do it here and go talk to
Anyways, so we went into GTN, we spoke to the people, they gave us information, and then we went back 2 weeks later and we were like, okay, cool, we'll sign up now.
Yeah, I was sort of excited because I had looked it up online before we moved here, and our house, it says that in our area we can get the world's fastest Wi-Fi, the fastest internet, at least at the time, which is 2 gig download. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. And it was really cheap. It was only $64 a month. And then it was only once we got here and I was talking to the people at GTN that we realized that our building doesn't have it. So it's not the problem of the company, it's just our building. Like, our neighbors probably can get that super fast internet.
Yeah.
But us in this building can't. So instead we pay 4,100 yen a month, which if you're next door you would be getting, 2 gig down. But because it's us, you pay the exact same amount of money, but you get 100 megabytes down. But the problem is it's 100 megabytes shared between everyone in the building. Like, it's almost like a landline. Like, it's not like a broadband kind of thing. It's almost like an ADSL kind of thing. In fact, it is ADSL, which means you share it with everyone in the building. So sometimes during the day it can be fast.
At night time it tends to get pretty cold, I'm saying cold. It gets slow.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it gets ridiculously slow. So that sucks.
Sonia was really upset when he found out that our internet wasn't fast.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, to the point where, for example, the other day I was playing Apex Legends and the game just closed.
Yeah.
Because the internet was so slow I couldn't even play the game.
It's good for in terms of we can stream Netflix very easily.
Yeah.
We can go on Facebook and Instagram and everything easily. It's just when if you're trying to play games that are too intense. Our upload speed's really good.
Yeah, which is odd. But for the most part, the internet, the home internet in Japan is going to be really good. But the phone internet is just disappointing.
Considering how like cheap our rent is. It's
Yeah.
because we're in an old building. Like our
Yeah.
building is old. So like the landlord probably hasn't updated the internet since it was first like built like
Yeah.
50 years ago.
Also, one thing that in terms of internet that I'm kind of disappointed in Japan in as well is the fact that the trains don't have Wi-Fi. So all the subway trains do have Wi-Fi, but like above ground trains don't. And it's like, man, that'd be something so easy to have, you know?
See, Sonia's aware of this because it takes him 40 minutes to get to work, whereas
Yeah.
it takes me 10 minutes to get to work, so I don't know.
Because all trains in Korea, in like Seoul, I'm pretty sure have.
Yeah, but it's important to remember that these are two different countries, so you can't really be like,
Yeah, you can though.
No,
Like
but
it's,
it's
there's
like
no
being like-
there's no point. There's no reason that they couldn't have that. You know, it's like why don't they? It's all these little things where it's like, it surely cannot be that hard to have Wi-Fi on trains.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, actually, and the other thing that you're gonna have to pay every month really is gonna be transport costs, right,
Yeah.
on the train.
So this is something we found out about after we got here, like after working here for a bit, is so we signed up for our train pass, which was like very easy to do. You pay like an initial amount and then you can load it very easily from little like ATM style machines. But then we found out like after starting work that you can also get a commuter pass loaded onto your train card. So a commuter pass is when you basically input the train station that you start at and then you input your final destination, so your work, and then you pay a month. You can choose a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year upfront on the assumption that like you get unlimited transport between those two stops. So and it saves, I think we worked out it's like 20 or 30% to do that.
Yeah. So for example, for me, every month I would have to pay 8,800 yen, but instead I pay 6,600. So there is a saving there. The longer you have to travel, well, the further you have to travel, the more savings you'll get.
Yeah.
And also, it's quite good because I have 8 stops between me and my work, which means I can go to any of those stops for free. And I have done that where I'll stop halfway, and then
Yeah.
you basically travel for free there.
Whereas mine is only like 3 stops away, so I can only really go to my place. But my pass is cheaper
Yeah.
because I'm traveling less. Apparently, like the guy who told me about commuter passes said he used to work with someone who like wherever he lived was like so far away from where he worked that he could literally go pretty much anywhere in Tokyo
Yeah.
on his pass because like it went through so many stations.
Right.
So it's kind of like cool.
Yeah. Train passes are super easy to get as well. Like at
Yeah.
any station. Although, I mean, we didn't actually speak Japanese, so it was kind of like, you know, just pointing at something and being like, we need this kind of thing.
Yeah, the phrase that you should learn, right, is like sumimasen, eigo ga hanashimasu ka? Excuse me, do you speak English?
Yeah, that's a good
And
one.
generally they'll say no, but then it turns out they actually speak a little bit. And by asking that, it's kind of like showing you're making effort, like you're trying to speak Japanese, so it's like respectful. And then they'll generally like say no, but then they'll reply in English.
Yeah,
so it's like,
yeah.
they'll be like, oh no, I don't speak English. Like I don't speak much English, but then they speak so much that like you're like, come on,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do.
Yeah, so you have to go to an actual person to get a train pass initially, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's really easy to add money on just through the machines that they have. And then also through the machines, you can also update your commuter pass.
Yeah, and so depending on which train pass you get as well, you can use them for more than just trains. You can use them on like buses, and you can also use them at some convenience stores.
Yeah. Although we never have really. Because,
Yeah, we haven't actually, but you can use them. They have lots of vending machines at the stations, and you can
Yeah,
also
true.
use them there.
Yeah. Man, we still haven't bought anything in a vending machine.
Yeah, there's vending
Shockingly.
machines like every couple of meters in Japan, and we still haven't used them.
Yeah. The other thing that you have to pay every month is health insurance.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's 2 things that you have to pay every month. So there's health insurance, which is 1,740 a month, and you get it every 3 months. So they give you like January, February, March's health insurances in March. In January. And you can decide. You can either pay all 3 at the same time, or you can just pay one every month. We just paid all 3 at the same time. So basically we're only doing it every
And
3
you
months.
do have to, at least for our job, you had to sign up for health insurance.
Yeah, you have to
Because when we
sign up in
when
general.
we showed up for our first day, they take a photocopy of your
Yeah.
health insurance card.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, health insurance is something that you need. And apparently, so the first year, it's super cheap. So 1,740 a month is dirt cheap. And the way the health insurance works is if you go to the doctors or if you go to a pharmacy, for most things, you only have to pay 30% of the cost, and then the government will pay the other 70%. But apparently, the reason it's so cheap is because they base it on your pay, on your last year's pay, and because they don't consider foreign pay, your pay is zero, and that's what you end up paying. But then the second year that you're in Japan, and then from then on, apparently the cost of health insurance increases by a lot.
Yeah, we've been warned that
Yeah.
we're going to be shocked when we get our first one next year.
Yeah, I've been talking to people who've been living here for a couple of years, and instead of paying 1,740 a month, they pay 10,000 a month. So it can go up a lot, but at least for that first year, it's pretty cheap. And then the second thing that you have to pay, and I'm going to put have to in like quotes because you are meant to pay it, but Ali and I aren't paying it,
Because we didn't know.
which is
When-
pension.
Yeah. When we signed up for health insurance, right, we had to go to our local, like, city's ward office. And it was kind of funny because you have to set it up under the person whose house, like, the house is in the name of. So it's in my name. So Somya is technically my, like, beneficiary. So I'm the head of the household. And they kept on being like, you're the head of the household, are you sure? And I was like, yes, 'tis me. And so when we set up the health insurance, they were like, they asked, they were like, oh, did you want to set up pension too? We were like, do we have to? And they said no, so we didn't. But then we found out later that technically you do have to. So I don't know why
Well, I
they
think
gave us the
think they
choice.
mean do you want to set it up now or do you want to set it up later? And we just said no to now.
Yeah, but I didn't, like, at the
expected.
time I didn't
Yeah.
get that. I thought it was just like they were saying you don't have to, like it's a voluntary thing.
So yeah, so technically you are meant to pay it, but we're not. So yeah, I don't even know if there's something that we should be omitting on tape, to be honest.
Well, we should, I think if we plan on staying for 2 years, we should probably set it up
Yeah, we
at
probably
some
should.
point. Because I don't, like, it sucks because it's, like, I don't understand why we have to pay pension when we know we're not planning on retiring here.
Well, that's the thing. They give you all the money back, so you have to pay
Someone else told me you
9.5%.
only get 20% back.
No, you pay 9.5% towards pension of your pay every month, and then all of it you get back at the end. When you actually, it might be all of it, or it might be I think the way you got 20% was actually, I think it's 80% that you get back.
Oh, so they keep 20%.
Yeah, I think it might be that.
But you've also got to, like, go through the process of, like, applying for it to be refunded. So I think it's probably just, like, a money-making way, because I imagine lots of foreigners just, like,
Yeah,
I don't know,
maybe.
don't bother or can't figure out the,
Yeah.
like, forms.
What I heard is that people who are newly here should automatically get set up for pension. Like, this is something that started late last year. I think we imagined that we would be part of that group that would get automatically set up, but for some reason we didn't. If I know someone, for example, who hasn't been paying health insurance, and then they will contact you. But it's not like that super strict. They kind of just contact you and say, hey, you're meant to be paying this, and like.
But the problem with, like, not paying something that you're legally required to, especially in Japan, is the justice system here is different from what we're used to in, like, New Zealand or, like, Western countries. In that, even though this doesn't really work out in, like, practice, is technically in, like, Western countries, you're innocent until proven guilty, whereas it's kind of the other way around in Japan. Like, you have to prove your innocence. So if they decide that you've done something wrong, such as paying pension, like, you're kind of screwed. Because
I don't know.
as
From
a
what I've heard,
foreigner-
no one is that strict about it.
yeah, but what if you did something else wrong? Like, say you got a bike and you didn't register it, because in Japan you have to register your bike the same way you would a car. And then you got pulled up on that. And then they also found out you weren't doing that. I don't know, I wouldn't want to be caught,
Yeah,
you know.
true.
But yeah, so you're meant to pay pension, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So those are the things that that you have to pay every month here. So when you're planning out how much money you're probably going to be spending,
What is that total?
Consider that. I don't know, like 4, 12. It's a lot. It's like it's quite a bit. I think we pay monthly. We pay $2,200. So
For rent
in New Zealand dollars.
For rent and all that stuff? Or
Yeah,
just for that stuff?
just for everything. Yeah. So yeah, you can figure out. It'll be about that much. Couple of things actually that you need to get as soon as you arrive to Japan that we should also talk about is your residency card.
Which you get at the airport.
Yes, yeah, that's right. You get your residency card at the airport, but you need to put your address on your residency card and that you do at your local ward office. So whatever ward you're in, they're going to have like a town hall kind of thing, and that's where you do that. And then while you're there, you also sign up for health insurance. And you also get this thing called a My Number card, where it's almost like a social security number, where it's like a number that kind of just puts you in the system. And you need that My Number card for a lot of things. So for example, next month when we start applying for the 100,000 yen
Government subsidy.
The government subsidy for the COVID-19 that they're giving everybody, you do it through your My Number. So that's pretty important. So those three things, health insurance, residency, and My Number, is something that you should sort out like ASAP, like within like the first week. And then also pension, actually.
Yeah, so that's our first week in Japan. We didn't relax at all, really. We were literally just like running around trying to sort out setting up a bank account, setting up My Number, setting up health insurance, registering in our ward office, like going to all these different places to do that stuff.
Yeah. So the other thing that you kind of have to be thinking about, I guess, is just furniture, like basic furniture, which is sort of a given, but we thought just to help you out, like 2 good places to buy furniture is Craigslist and a Facebook page called...
So there's lots of different Facebook page under the general name like Sayonara Sales. So Sayonara means goodbye. And it's basically when foreigners are leaving Japan, they'll post, their stuff for sale. Some of those are like, I don't even get... I joined a bunch of them to see if I could find any good deals, and like some of them had really like toxic communities. Like it was like the admins were really like... I don't know, they were on a power trip about the fact that everyone in Japan needed to be there. Because I never bought anything off them and I never commented, but so I ended up unfollowing a bunch of the pages because some of the posts were just like, come on, man, this is just a Facebook group about like selling furniture in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, calm down.
Well, we bought our fridge and washing machine off Craigslist, and man, we saved so much money doing that. I definitely highly recommend doing that instead of buying it new from like a store.
Yeah, the reason we went for Craigslist instead of Sayonara Sales is because most of the Sayonara Sales are pick up only and we wanted delivery. So I lucked out with the ones that we found because we got a full size fridge. That's the other thing in Japan is like a lot of the fridges are like tiny.
Yeah.
Like little baby fridges. And
true, yeah.
For the same price we managed to get a proper fridge.
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part you're probably going to get a tiny ass fridge.
And
I'm glad we don't have one.
The reason we got such a good deal on our fridge is because, like, as a part of, like, Japanese culture around technology, they like new appliances.
Yeah.
And this is, like, it's still pretty new, but it's, like, obviously an older fridge. Like, it's got a couple of dents in it.
Yeah.
Like, tiny dents that, like, you don't even see, but I suspect that's why it was so cheap, because it does have, like, a little bit of damage.
And it had a spider in it when we got it.
Oh, yeah, and a ladybug, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right, ladybug too.
Because the person who delivered it to us, like they hired a proper delivery company, explained that with fridges apparently they recommend like you put it outside on its side or something so that any like ice can like, I don't know, like leak out or whatever. And so it was outside overnight the night before.
Ah, right.
So I think a spider came in, or it had been in the owner's like garage phages, who knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got really good deals on those. The other websites I'd recommend for new furniture is obviously pretty much all of our furniture comes from IKEA.
Yeah.
If you're buying a bed from IKEA, the mistake we made was I bought a bed frame and I didn't realise that the frame did not come with like slats. So like the wooden slats on the base of the bed. So we couldn't actually use our frame until I bought some actual slats.
That was so dumb.
And
From them. Like,
yeah.
Can't believe they sell beds up.
No, but it was my bad because I like looked at the frame online. I realised afterwards what happened is I looked at the frame on the IKEA website and like I remembered the name of the frame. And then when I look back, I was like, oh, it must be a sale. It's cheaper. And so I bought it. But it turns out it's because they sold the frame with slats and then on a separate, like, thing, they sell the frame without slats.
Right.
But I didn't realise that was the difference. Like, I just thought that it was on sale when I bought it.
Yeah.
So that was my bad for, like, not reading it properly. It's because I read it properly the first time. And I was like, sweet, comes with everything. And then I went back. And then I was like, cool, yep, purchase. So read it carefully. But yeah, we got, like, our couch... We got our couch, our bed frame, our mattress, dining table, chairs.
Basically just buy from IKEA.
Yeah, there's also a really cool website called Nitori.
Oh yeah, Nitori is like the main furniture store in Japan.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah,
like,
we didn't realise how many there were. The first time we went, we were going... Because when you look up on the map, then like not all of them come up. Like the Nitori that came up nearest to us was like in Shinjuku. So we took 2 trains to get there the first time, and that's the reason we didn't buy furniture, is because we were like, how are we going to get it back home? But then we found out there's literally like 2 within walking distance from us.
Yeah, they're really everywhere.
And they have some great stuff. Like most of our like smaller stuff is from Nitori, like our pillows and our like duvets, kitchen stuff.
Yeah, that's a great store.
But for the initial furniture purchase, so mattress, frame, couch, dining table, chairs, I think I probably spent like, and like basic appliances, like cutlery, all that. I think it was under 100,000 yen.
Yeah,
so
our budget was like 100,000 for it.
Yeah.
A futon, by the way, around here, like a good one, costs between like 15 and 20,000.
And honestly, we bought a futon at first because we were like, yeah, we're living in Japan, we're going to sleep in a futon, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Get a mattress.
Yeah, honestly.
Because we ended up getting a mattress from IKEA for the same price as we spent on the futon. So like we have our futon on top of our mattress, so it's extra comfy. And it means when guests come, we have a futon for them.
Yeah.
But we basically doubled up on buying a mattress.
For sure. Yeah, that was dumb.
So there's some advice. Don't buy a futon.
Yeah, it's not as fun as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's just, at least for us, like as people who have slept on like beds with frames our whole lives.
Yeah.
It was meh.
Yeah. 2 things that I've thought about is, one is, so obviously all these costs that we've talked about are kind of 2 people costs, I guess.
Yeah.
So for one person, it's not going to be halved, but, just take that into consideration. Also, in terms of housing, 107,000 for our flat is actually a really good price, I would say.
We have a suspiciously good price.
Yeah, for like the size and stuff. One thing that's really common is people staying in shared houses. So like, when you live at a shared house, obviously your rent's going to be much lower, but also consider that your living space is smaller and that a lot of things are going to be shared, like the kitchen, bathroom.
So share house is literally, it's a flat where you don't pick your flatmates.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes they've got like cool extras, like people who have like a small movie theater, or like they'll have like a gaming room.
I reckon if you're coming here by yourself, it would be worthwhile as well, just for the social aspect.
Yeah, true. Yeah, socially, like if we came alone, we'd probably go with at least for the first year, because
make friends, or the first like 6 months, first few months. One of the people I work with lives in a share house just down the road. He has like I think it's like a 12-meter square bedroom.
Yeah.
And our apartment is 35 metres square, and he pays 80,000 yen for his room.
Right.
Whereas we're paying 107,000 for like triple the size. So for me, it's definitely still worthwhile to get our own apartment.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
If you're by yourself, I think a share house is a solid option.
Yeah, yeah. The second thing is, banking. So that's actually another thing that you need to sort out as soon as you get here. On top of like the residency card and stuff, is you need to sort out your bank. A lot of banks, like most of them, do not speak English. Right?
Yeah, the first one we went to was like the bank we ended up going with, JP Post, but our nearest one. And we went there and like none of them spoke any English. Apparently they actually generally will have one English speaker at the bank. But you've got to go there early in the morning to hear them, because they tend to get booked up throughout the day straight away. So
we ended up going to Tokyo Station JP Bank. Like if you go to like a main station, you have a higher chance of finding a one that they speak English in. And they'll give you we got a debit card as well as they do cash cards here, where the only purpose of a cash card is to take out cash from ATM.
Because it's such a cash-based society.
Yeah, they don't actually have normal FPOS cards, but they do have debit cards that you can use, obviously, like an FPOS card.
But before we got that one, we went to like another bank, and they said that it was really weird because we couldn't get our contract finalised until we had a bank account, because they had to have a bank account to pay us with in our contract. Yeah. But this bank said you couldn't get an account until you had a contract.
Yeah, so you're going to have like issues with that in some places you go, which makes no sense. And that's another reason why I think JP Bank is kind of better, because they don't expect that.
Some of them do, apparently. It depends on which one you go to and who you get. The one our work recommended is, if you ever come here and you have trouble, is the JP Post Bank in Nishi Shinjuku.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where so many of the main Aikawa centres are located. They send their staff there, so their bank is like very used to English speakers who have just arrived.
Right.
So if Tokyo Station hadn't worked, we would have gone to that one next.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, and setting up a bank was like, we were very lucky. Our job had like pre-written us a letter in Japanese being like, basically it said, these people will be working with blah blah company.
Yeah, our job helped a
Yeah.
lot in terms of notes. You know, we had a note to give the bank. We also had things to give our ward office so that they knew exactly what we needed.
Yeah, like everything just written in Japanese, so we could basically
Yeah.
just hand it to them. They could read it and be like, "Oh yeah, sweet."
Yeah, I would definitely recommend contacting your work and trying to get them to sort something out like that for you.
Yeah, assuming they don't already.
Because also at most ward offices, they don't speak English. Or they have limited English.
Yeah, the person who worked at our ward office was very helpful, and she was really sweet, and it was really cute because she was trying so hard, but
Yeah.
like her English was really limited. In the same way that like our Japanese is really limited.
Oh, her English is way better than my Japanese.
Oh yeah, for
I have
sure.
no Japanese.
But
so-
it was so cool because she had like a little notebook where she'd written down all the English phrases
Yeah.
with Japanese on top of them, so that she could like hunt through it and then like point at it.
Yeah.
So like they totally tried to help you
For sure.
set everything up. Same with like the bank, same with the phone. Like, so expensive thinking about how much we spent moving here.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that Japan is not that cheap. So think about that. Make sure you have a lot of money saved up.
Yeah, we saved pretty much all of our money.
Yeah, it's
And we,
expensive.
we sold stuff when we moved here. We sold our car.
Yeah.
In terms of money, what I'll say is the amount that we saved to move here, and it lasted us 3 months. Like, it literally lasted us just until we got our first payslip.
Yeah.
Was 20,000 New Zealand dollars.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we saved 20, and that did include a month of basically being tourists. Like, the first month we got here, maybe not a full month, like 3 weeks, we did all the touristy stuff. So we were able to, like, we saved 20,000 to afford to be able to have fun as well as be practical.
Yeah, for sure.
But just keeping in mind the total cost of everything we just said was about 20,000.
Yeah, yeah.
The company that we went with recommended you save at least 5,000. So I'll just say whatever your company recommends, quadruple it. In our personal experience.
Yeah,
Because 5,000 would not have lasted us at all.
Although I guess it also depends when you move here. Like, we moved a month early. A lot of people move in. Like, I know people who've moved here and then they start work the very next day or the next
Yeah, but
day.
even then, 5,000, I think you might be able to survive on that for a month or two.
Yeah.
But like, I think that you wouldn't be able to buy any of your furniture. You wouldn't be able to see.
Well, a
anything
big
up.
one is, like, most of our money was spent on that initial move-in.
Yeah.
That, you know, yeah, 530,000 yen. Like, that was a lot of our money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, just that and flights was half our money. So, it depends on that as well.
Yeah, true. And I mean, I won't lie. Like, we weren't like living frugally when we first got here because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
came here to like enjoy ourselves, and so we weren't going to come here and immediately just do nothing at home.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we had a touristy experience, which was good. So if you want to do it like that, like, we lived pretty comfortably for that first like 3 to 4 months on 20,000.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to like add the final, because we never really said what the total cost of all that was.
Yeah,
And
true,
that's
true.
basically what it was.
Okay, well, that's it then. Until next time.
Let us know if this one was helpful, because we enjoyed putting it together. It's kind of fun going back and doing your research.
Like, if there's any questions you have about Japan, maybe we could do, like, a question episode or something.
Ooh,
But,
yeah.
yeah, definitely let us know what you want to know about Japan, and we'll do an episode on it. And also, one thing is, follow Ellie on Twitch. She's been streaming on there now. If you have any questions, you
I've
can
done
ask
2
it.
solid days.
You can ask it live to her. That's twitch.tv/Wammy, WAUMMY.
Yeah. I've been playing Planet Zoo, so if you...
Exactly, and if you also like Planet Zoo, you can watch that. Alright, see you later, guys.
Okay, bye.